Hey folks, today we're going to watch and react to a video from the Texas Beeworks lady. I've actually seen her video shorts on YouTube, probably like the rest of society. She has millions of views, but I've never watched a full video of hers. So as a beekeeper, I want to check it out and we can just react to it together. So let's just start. This is the bee removal was full
Bees
of
were living in this
drama,
stack of theater equipment, and I was called to
and it
remove
looks like
them.
she's
The
removing a
homeowner
swarm.
was a local drama teacher, and the bees moved into these pieces of
Ooh,
stage
that bee
being
has a
stored in the
ton of pollen
backyard.
on its legs.
You can see how the bees were using this rotted out hole as the entrance to their hive. And after the stage
Okay, it's a
pieces were
little hive.
disassembled,
I mean, it's
I got my
full, but it's
first good
little.
look at the hive, and
You can
it
tell
was
that it's
just
new.
beautiful.
Let's
I
pause here
could tell
actually
from
for a
all the
second.
fresh comb.
That she just mentioned fresh comb, so you can tell that that comb is fresh by the color of it. So this is very white comb. So I'll bet when she tries to remove it, it's a little bit flimsy. The comb gets darker, kind of a brown, a darker yellow, or a brown, and even black look as the thousands of bees walk over it over and over again. It turns darker and harder.
That it didn't look like the bees had been here for too
Yeah,
long,
she just
but they
said that
were
they hadn't
very
been there for
active.
long. Super
And
active.
while there were a lot of bees flying around, they were not aggressive or trying to sting me at all.
That's crazy
So
to
I set the
me.
new
Like, I'm
hive as
sure she
close
wasn't
to
being
the
stung
stage as
right then,
possible. I thought
but
this would help
when
the
you
bees
work
get into it a
hives
bit
and
more
you don't
easily
have
when they were ready for
covering
it.
on at all,
But first, I would have to
eventually
get
you're going to get
most of the
stung.
comb
Some people
and
are
the
probably just
colony and
better at
hopefully the queen
handling the
into the
pain
new
than
hive.
others.
So I got to work. I knew that I would have to take extra care when working with this hive.
Yeah,
The beeswax comb was so soft and delicate, and I wanted to keep it all as
there it
intact as
is. Super
possible.
fresh comb,
So I did my best to
probably
hold the
flimsy.
comb
It's going to fall
together as I
apart.
removed the first piece of the hive. This piece had some food on it, so I took a moment to look for the queen, but I didn't see her.
Did
So
she
I put
say it
this
had
piece
food on
into a
it
frame of
or
the new
brood on
hive
it?
using rubber
If it had
bands.
brood on it, the
Then I
queen would
used my
be, or an
smoker to
egg, the
clear
queen
the
would have been
bees
there,
from the
but
next
food,
piece
that
of
doesn't make
comb that I
sense to
needed
me.
to remove. This piece was just as soft and flimsy as the first, and it broke in half as I grabbed it. But the bees could still use everything inside of it, and they would even put it back together.
Yeah, that is
So I
totally true.
carefully put
Actually,
it
let's
into the
pause
new
there.
hive.
Pause there. She said that they would put it back together. 100% true. And as active as that hive looks, she could probably put it in that hive with the rubber bands, the comb in there, and within a few days, they will have created new comb connecting all of the existing chunks of comb.
And I did the same thing with the rest of this piece. Then I paused for a moment to just observe the bees and to see if I could find the queen. And that's when I saw one of my all time
The
favorite bee behaviors
the
to
bees
see
will go where the
inside the
queen is.
hive.
That's why she's trying to find
The
the
bee in the
queen.
center of all the other bees, who is shaking her
Okay, we got the
abdomen
waggle
and
dance
walking
going
around
on.
in
She'll
circles,
probably
is
explain this, but
actually doing that to communicate
what they
with
do
the
is the
other
waggle
bees.
dance to
She is telling
tell
them
the
the
other bees
distance and
where the
direction
food
to
is.
fly to find the best flowers for food. And if you think it looks like she is dancing, you're thinking like a beekeeper. Because beekeepers lovingly call
That's
this
right, the
the
waggle
waggle
dance.
dance.
So when you open a hive and are looking at the frames, there are bees all over the place doing the waggle dance. And what you'll often see is there's one bee in the middle and it's doing the waggle dance. And the other bees, there'll be several dozen in a circle around it just watching. It's fascinating. And that's almost happening on every frame.
And it looked like these dancing bees were doing their job quite well because this hive had a wonderful
You see a
supply
bunch of
of
pollen in
pollen.
there.
And while I could have sat there and just watched the bees all day, it was time to get back to
The
work.
smoke that she's using
This next piece of
pacifies the
comb was
bees to
full of
keep
worker
them from
brood
being
pollen
aggressive.
and nectar, and it was an essential part of the hive. So I secured it into a frame and I put it into the new
I
hive as
love how
carefully as
delicate she is with
possible.
it for sure. Notice
Then I
how
used my smoker to gently clear the bees from the
smoothly and
next piece of
slowly she
comb,
moves
and
so
you can
that the
see
bees
how the
don't get
bees
aggressive
scurried
with
away
her.
from the smoke just as you or I
So
would.
that
This next
chunk
piece of
of
comb was
comb
full of
has a
even
bunch
more
of
brood
brood
and
on it.
food than the last,
That
and
tells
it
you that
had
the queen
everything a
is
healthy
laying very
colony
well.
needed
It's a
this
great
time of
pattern of
year.
brood on that.
All of the cells
albeit
with
small.
cappings on them were full of worker brood, and that was almost a sure sign of a queen.
See, let's pause
You can
there.
see the capped brood on the bottom.
Notice that capped brood, that's what you call it. There are the capped broods on the bottom, and then you can see the larvae up above that. So as that larvae grows, the bees will feed it and eventually cap it. And notice the pattern, there's not a lot of empty cells there, which shows that it's a pretty productive queen, one that you would definitely want to keep.
And some
Certainly
bright,
not making
beautiful
these bees
pollen being
aggressive, which is
stored
good
above it,
news.
which
Good
is
news
what
for
the
her.
nurse bees use to feed the baby bees. So I slowly slid this piece of comb
She
into
should
a frame
probably put that
alongside the
frame somewhere
others,
in the
and I
middle.
put everything into
The
the new
brood usually
hive.
goes in the
And
middle of the
since I had
hive.
not yet seen the queen, I gave the bees some more smoke to clear them off the comb so I could look for her. And that's when, all of a sudden, I saw the queen.
Good
At
eyes.
first, she
It's
was
hard to
mostly
see the
covered up
queen.
by the other bees, but then she crawled her way through and I could see
Okay, I
her
see her right
entire
there.
body. And
That
that's
looks
when I
like a
saw it.
pretty
This
new
queen
queen.
bee was laying an egg.
Okay, got
That's
a
not
little
a
egg
stinger
hanging
you
out of
see,
there.
that's an actual bee
I've
egg,
seen
and
that
she was in the
before.
middle of laying it.
I wonder on that one, I wonder if she was in the middle of laying that, or with new queens, I've seen that they're just figuring out how to lay. And maybe she was removing comb and she got caught in the act and wasn't able to fully lay it, but it's not uncommon to see that. That does look like a pretty new queen, though. Pretty small. The abdomen is small.
So I grabbed my queen clip and I wanted to get her in the new hive right away. A queen clip is a beekeeping tool designed to hold the
Okay, so
queen
she put
inside,
the
but let the
queen
other
in the
bees,
clip
who are
without
smaller,
grabbing the queen,
easily
which
enter and
is
exit to
like
care for
pretty
her.
skillful.
But as soon as I put this queen in the clip, she crawled right
Okay,
out.
small queen, didn't
So
stay in the
after she
clip.
crawled into my hand, I put her in the clip
Probably
again.
just a few weeks
But
old.
this time, I would make sure it would hold her safely inside. So I grabbed a rubber band and I started to wrap it around the opening of the
Smart.
clip where she was
If the
escaping
queen
from.
doesn't stay
I
in the
usually do
clip,
this in most
then
of
she
my
won't be able to
removals,
control the other
just for
bees.
added
So she'll
insurance,
she'll
which
put
is
that
something
clip
I learned
inside
from
of the
having one
hive,
too
the
many
new hive,
queens
inside of
escape
those
from the
frames,
clip and
so that
swarm
all
on
of the
me.
other bees
And I
will
took some
follow.
extra time
They'll
and care
smell
to
they'll
make
smell
sure
her
this
and
queen
follow
wasn't
her.
going anywhere. So after I felt like she was safe, I put her in the new hive and I got back to work. I still had a few more pieces of comb and a lot of bees to get into the new hive.
I can't believe she's
And
just
while I
doing that
was
with her
working, I
hands.
was thinking
I
of the
guarantee
queen
she
and
gets
hoping she
stung.
wouldn't find her way out
I
of the
mean, a
clip.
lot of beekeepers
The
can do
bees can
that,
chew
and
through the
but it
rubber
hurts.
bands,
Like
but
me,
only if they
I'll go
really
with my
want
bare
to, and it
hands,
could
but
take
once I
them
get stung, the
days.
gloves are going on.
Even if the queen did escape from the clip again, though, the bees would let me know because all of the bees already in the hive would start to follow the queen out. A honeybee colony is a superorganism, which means that it's a collective of individual bees acting in
Notice how those
synergy for
bees
the benefit of the
are
community.
fanning their wings a
And that's
lot.
what they were doing
They're
as we
trying
all
to
worked
help the other
together to get
bees
them into the new
identify
hive.
where the queen is,
As I speed
because
this up,
she
you can
has a
see the
smell,
bees on the stage
and if they
behind me all
fan,
move
the
together in a
smell will
group
spread, and
into
they'll
the
be
new
able to find
hive.
her.
And that's because their
Sometimes it can
queen
take
was in
hours.
there, and they were starting to recognize this as their new home. So they were working together to make sure that every bee in the colony knew where to go and how to get there. But some of the bees still needed a bit of encouragement. So I used my smoker to create a cloud of smoke around the bees to herd them into the new
Smart.
hive. Then I just waited and
She's
watched
patient.
as the
Like
bees
sometimes you just
followed
want
their
to grab
colony
them
into their new
and move
home.
them.
There were plenty of
If
bees at the
they're not
entrance of the
aggressive, you can
hive
do
who were
that. But
fanning pheromones from a
if they
special
are
gland
aggressive,
in
then
their
you'll get stung
abdomen
like
to let the
crazy.
other bees know where to go.
You
And
can
there
see
were
them
a lot
walking
of
into the
bees
hive, and
following
the
them
others are
into the new
fanning to help
hive.
the others find
Over
the
time,
queen.
as more and more bees started to pick up on those scents, more and more bees would go into the new hive to be with their queen.
Oh,
But
she's
there was a
grabbing them.
group of bees that didn't
Man,
seem to want to go in,
she is
so I
braver
scooped
than
them up with my
I. I've
hands.
done that
To
before
me, scooping bees seems
and
like the most gentle
have gotten
way to
stung.
get bees from one place to another.
And I
So
guarantee, I
after I
cannot believe
scooped
she
as
doesn't get
many bees
stung.
as I
Sometimes
could,
she
I
might not,
scraped the
but
last
I'll
bit
bet
of
she's just
comb off the
tough.
stage and put it into the new hive. I also used this time to check on the queen. I could see that she was still inside of the clip and that a bunch of other bees had joined her to take care of her, which was a great sign. Since it looked like she wasn't going anywhere, I put her into the new hive. Then I just waited and watched for more bees to move into the new
Could have
hive.
taken
And after I
could have taken
waited long
hours.
enough, most of the colony was in the new hive with their queen. So I began to put the
They don't
cover on
move
the hive,
quickly,
but the entrance would still
oftentimes.
remain completely open so that any straggler bees could get in, and so the bees would have plenty of ventilation for the drive
Okay, she
home.
left the door
And since the
open.
hive is just
Again, let me
pieces
pause there
stacked
for
on
a
top of
second. That is something that I would not do. Again, she's braver than I. If she has that in, well, she probably has a truck, and so, but if she were in an enclosed area like a van or a car and she did that, the bees are going to come out of that door and or the opening, and they're going to be all over you. So again, interesting that she left that open. I would put some type of covering there. You still have to allow them to breathe, but some type of covering so that they can't get out, because you don't want to lose them either. Which I guarantee on the ride home, if she left that door open, she did lose some.
one another and they're not attached in any way, I used a bungee cord to hold everything together. Once I
Good
felt like
idea.
everything was
Don't want
secure,
the
it
lid
was
flying
time
off
for
on the
me and the
freeway.
bees to go home. So I picked up the hive, I loaded it into my truck,
Super
and it was
lightweight,
another great
small
day
hive.
of saving the bees.
Okay, she's legit. That was fun. Texas Beeworks lady got a ton of respect for you. I'm looking forward to watching other videos. Pretty impressive how she does that without a suit. Like, that's legit.